welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man that just got finished feeding a very weird aquatic sea beast in a gigantic fish tank. It's Norbert Morvan.
Who's the master?
Sho'nuff.
Am I the meanest?
Sho'nuff.
Am I the baddest?
Sho'nuff.
Am I the toughest mofo low down around this town?
Bruce Leeroy could kick your ass.
What?
Watching this movie, and you know what, I've been talking about this lately, about movies that you can watch a lot. And what I really like about this movie, and this sounds weird, but like movies like A Knight's Tale, or for me, Too Fast, Too Furious, Evolution, movies like that where there's not, okay, I'm just saying in their world, the stakes aren't tremendously high, right? Mm-hmm. And it's just nice personal journeys with really enjoyable people. And I love how breezy you can just watch The Last Dragon. You got the music, you have the just the musical scenes, and then the different moments where he meets the dudes dancing outside, some dumb guy. It's just I don't know. You can just watch it. You can put The Last Dragon on, and it's so well made. There's so much personality to it. It's breezy, and that's not an insult. I love hangout movies.
No,
it's a hangout movie. That's what it is. That I couldn't articulate that better earlier. But Last Dragon to me is a hangout movie, and I find the character of Leeroy Green, Bruce Leeroy, he's so earnest. And yes, it was his first performance, and the director during the commentary, he's like, he couldn't say can't. So whenever you hear him in this movie, he's like cannot. He's like do not. He's like don't do don't. He's like, that's what we had to spend the time on. But just, he's such an earnest, welcome presence. And there aren't many characters like him. And it's so refreshing. And just a character level. He's a good kid. A good man. Mm-hmm. Well, he's like 19, I guess. So is he a kid or a man? Nice man?
He's 19, so old enough to vote, not old enough to drink.
Yeah, so is that a teenager? He's a nice teenager.
He's a teenager, yes, that's right.
He's super earnest. He's really dedicated his life to martial arts. He's very naive. I want you to teach me. And I got this friend.
Show me some moves.
Yeah, I got some friends, and I got this friend, and he needs. And she's like, I'll teach you some moves.
Oh my god! Oh god! And when she said that, oh my god! Oh my god!
And he's just this good kid. He's a good. I don't know. He's a good kid. His students love him.
Yes.
I mean, I love Ernie Reyes Jr. in this movie too. Him beating up people when he's little.
This is the thing, man. Ernie Reyes Jr., he shows up in this movie. Not only does he have a sick pop lock package,
yes,
but he is legit. I will kick your ass.
He wipes people.
Yeah, and one of the people that he fights in an extended part of that fight scene when they're fighting in Seventh Heaven, one of the people he fights is his father.
Yes. And they only had 2 days to get a lot of that. So the director, he's talking about how, in the commentary, very good commentary, by the way, by Michael Schultz. And he's still directing. I mean, he's directed some big TV shows. The dude works. It's a shame he hasn't done bigger shows. Car Wash, too. Oh, my gosh. But he's good at hangout movies, right? And I'm not hating on, I'm not saying hangout's a bad thing. I'm just saying watchable slice of life. Like, I don't know. I dig it. But
no, I got you, man.
And also, when I met you in Korea, you were talking to me like, Mark, when you take a broad out, just let her buy a la carte.
You see? There it is, man. A la carte. You know what I'm saying? I told you. You got to know how to deal with these kind of people. You got to wine them, dine them, let them order a la carte. So a la carte is not so much a thing as it used to be, because people now, they just order things off of Uber Eats, or they go and just buy a buffet. But a la carte, you look at the menu, and the menu is a steak that comes with a side of this and a piece of that. So a la carte is, instead of ordering the steak, you just want the side, and you just pick and choose whatever you want. And they will charge you separately for each piece of thing, as opposed to like a big buffet price. It's incredibly expensive, and this is why you let a girl order a la carte, you're a baller. Okay?
No,
you're a baller.
And you're a la carte. It's fine. And also, Angela gets a full character development moment in this movie.
She gets a total arc, yeah. Because it starts off very sexist, very misogynist, and then she just realized, and you're also getting by on my tears, and I'm leaving you. You know, it's like, yeah, and you root for her because she seems like a genuinely nice person. As Eddie Arcadian begins his descent into madness from arcade mogul, which who's a video arcade mogul anyway?
His name's Arcadian.
His name is Eddie Arcadian, and he owns video arcades. Just on the nose. So as he continues this descent into madness, because not for nothing, Bruce Leeroy absolutely did disrespect him by dunking his head into the piranha tank. You know? Yeah. But he took he took that to heart. You know, he's got serious short guy complex issues, and so. You know,
and he gets called out for that too. What does she call him? Something like she digs on him when she leaves. She doesn't just leave. She calls him some names, and then ducks out.
He calls her another failed dental hygienist from Kew Gardens, which, by the way, beautiful part of Queens, international population, so many different types of people. You walk around there, it doesn't even feel like you're in New York City. Kew Gardens is lovely. Take the E train, folks.
She calls him a misguided midget asshole.
That's right. Misguided midget asshole, also from Kew Gardens, and also getting by on my tits. Yeah, that's right. So it's just brilliant. It's brilliant.
It's this odd movie, though, where she gets a full redemptive arc. And then, oh man, I have way too many notes here. Who's the guy that just wants to make big noises and not hit people? Then he starts hitting people. His friend.
That is his friend Johnny. Who is the brother of Ernie Reyes' character. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Johnny. He wants to master the art of fighting without knowing how to fight. And he studied his ass off to get that nunchaku scene down because he's sick with the nunchaku. So it's not that he doesn't have the skill. He just wants to be a clown. So he's got a mini arc, too.
There's so many mini arcs. And the boxer guy, why didn't you give me more to do? I could have been a world championship boxer. Well, you lost. You know, it's
you lost, Rocco. You lost. Every fight I got you lost. I'm sorry. I've been watching this movie for about 30 years. I love it.
And you know what I love, too, is this movie, the script cost, they thought that the script was going to cost too much money. So they're like, you need to cut this script down. And they didn't quite know how. So Michael Schultz and Louis Van Asta, they stayed up all night typing. I don't know if you know this. Sorry. And for the listener and you, they stayed up all night typing. Old school computer. We're talking 84, right? They're
a word processor.
Yeah, a word processor. They're up late. They're working hard. They're doing all this stuff, and they get so tired that Schultz ended up deleting 40 pages of the script, and he couldn't get it back. So during the commentary, he said when the guy woke up, they tried to recreate it the best they could, but they could only get 20 pages of it. So then they knocked out just enough to make the movie. And this is a $10 million budget. Let's count some inflation, so maybe 30 million at the time, 25, 30 million. But if you count for inflation on the box office, this is dang near a $100 million movie at the box office. Right. And they said that the majority of the box office came from kids watching it 7, 8, 9 times in a row. This movie was when did you see it in theaters? How old were you?
Once again, I saw this movie, WPIX Channel 11. You're gonna have to do a podcast on that.
So you're watching this, right? What are you thinking? Like, what are you?
The first time you see this movie, all of the beat that hits you, you know, you sure look like a master to me. You just go, oh my God, she's dead, you know. And when he finally realizes that the glow is not some incredibly deep thing, man, it's about just believing in yourself. You have the skills, you have the power, and you get it. This movie has been made 1,000 times. This movie is Rocky. This movie is Rudy. Any of those sports movies where the underdog wins. That's what it's about. And it's so quotable that you go into the theater because that theater scene at the beginning where everybody's yelling and screaming at the screen, 80s New York, 100%. Yeah. Now the breakdancing and whatnot, I mean, that was extra. But people talking to the screen during a movie, no doubt. So you go and you watch this, and I'm sad because I was not old enough in 85 to see this in the theater, but I saw it on TV a year or two later. You go in the theater in New York, you know what I'm saying? Who's the master? I guarantee you.
Sho'nuff.
The crowd is answering that call and response. And so that's why this movie's getting watched 1,000 times by the same people.
And it's so smart that they kept saying Sho'nuff because you just remember it. It's such a memorable name. And the actor, too, the dude's 6'7", Julius Carey. Like,
I was about to say, he's bigger than you, man.
Yeah, and he wasn't a martial artist. He was just athletic, and he could act. So he could pull it off that he was. I mean, he throws some good kicks in this movie. And, okay, this is what I wanted to get at earlier, but I severely butchered it. What I like about Leeroy Green, or Bruce Leeroy, is that he's he's naive, right? But he's 19. He's dedicated his life to it. His brother's very entitled towards Vanity, Laura, by the way. It's really...
Yes.
I'm like, that's mine. She's mine. Like, I know he's a kid, but...
Get your hands off my woman! Yeah.
I love... And his brother starts cheering for his brother at the end, but what I like about Leeroy is he's very naive, right? He's very young, learning the world. He hasn't seen much of it, but he's a badass. And so you don't need training montages with him. In the very beginning, he's catching arrows. He's catching arrows in the beginning. So throughout this film, it's just him finding himself. It's not Rudy going on the last play. It's not Rocky, and then Apollo Creed takes him easy. Like, I can win. This is nothing. I'll be fine. That's
right.
This kid is a face punching, body kicking, legit menace. And
he will murder you if he gets the chance. Yeah.
And also, he really connected with me because, for me, one movie character, I don't know what happened to you, but like I was always like a ruffian, man. I was always boxing, wrestling. I was like on the wrestling team. I carried boxing gloves in the back of my trunk. I would box people in backyards. Like it was Florida. You fight people anywhere. And so,
it's a little psycho.
Yeah. And cool. So when I saw Say Anything, I saw this character played by John Cusack who, oh man, the guy from, Danny Trejo said that John Cusack's crazy. But, when I saw Say Anything, I'm like, this is a nice guy who can beat the living daylights out of people. Like he's a kickboxer. And so I love that there's a Last Dragon. There's a Leeroy Green, nice kid, beat you up. I like that there's a Lloyd Dobber. And I connected with Goon a lot. That movie with Sean William Scott. Nice dude, beat you up. There's not enough really likable, earnest, good people who can just destroy you in movies.
Everything became anti-hero. That's the problem. The anti-hero thing took over.
And if you're tough, right? If you're in Hobbs and Shaw, it's like, oh yeah, well, I'll beat you like a drum. Yeah, well, you got the balls the size of raisins. And it's like, nah, just be a nice guy and beat somebody up. Like that's why. So if I had to take like nice people who can fist fight, I'm going Leeroy Green, I'm going Lloyd Dobler, and I'm taking Doug Glatt for me because I love that about them. It makes me happy. It's cool. I don't know. Or Jackie Chan from any of his movies.
Well, thing, man, just because you can do a thing doesn't mean that you should. And so Bruce Lee, it's when I say that he lacks confidence, it's not that he doesn't think he can do it. It's just that he doesn't want to do violence and be the aggressor. Yeah. He has learned to master Kung Fu, and he's learned to master karate, Kung Fu, because his trainer's Chinese. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's Kung Fu.
So he's learned to master.
You lizards calling yourself the Last Dragon, or skinny lizards calling yourself the Last Dragon, or giving it a bad name. Kung Fu, a bad name. Yeah.
That's right. So he has mastered Kung Fu, and he knows that when somebody goes around, hey, you are square, you are coolie, which by the way is a slur, and they just use it 1,000 times in this movie. We'll get into that later. But yeah, anytime somebody mocks him, I can murder you, but I'm not gonna. Mm-hmm. And so it takes the literal destruction of his family business for him to just say, you know what, I can actually defend myself and stand up for myself and not just quote fortune cookie sayings. That's it. And this is why the master sends him on that quest with a belt buckle to find some dumb goy, a man who doesn't exist, because the master realizes, this guy is not only just a virgin, but he's never gone through anything in his life, other than growing up in Harlem in the 80s, which is a lot, by the way. Which is a lot. And that's why